the #3 ranked woman, and Rosemary Wanjiru, the #6 ranked woman. On the men's side, it's quite interesting. We have, in the Road to Paris rankings, we have the #1, #3, #4, and #5 ranked Kenyan men here in Tokyo. It's an unbelievably strong field. #1 ranked, of course, Eliud Kipchoge. #3 ranked Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich. #4 ranked Timothy Kiplagat, and #5 ranked Benson Kipruto, all in the race. Our pacemakers in the race. Lead group is scheduled to go at 2:52 to 2:53 per kilometer, which would get them right down around the low 2:01 mark. For women, 3:11 to 3:12, we're looking at a time in the high 2:14s. Both of those would be course records. Governor Koike, 10 seconds away from firing their gun. That will make our race begin. And the Tokyo Marathon 2024 marathon race is underway. Tokyo Marathon, one of the most spectacular starts in the sport, directly in front of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. You know, given the size of Tokyo, the population, the economic power of the country, that is the equivalent to the government center of a lot of mid-sized countries. It's just a massive city with a massive marathon here. 37,500 people in the field in Tokyo. And our leaders making the first of the many right-hand turns in the first kilometer. Going a little bit deeper into our lead men's field. Oh, let's hold that. Let's go to the wheelchair race here. As expected, the favorite in the race, Tomoki Suzuki of Japan, national record holder, second here in Tokyo last year, taking it out hard. And right with him, Daniel Romanchuk of the United States. So kind of expect the race to be really between these two. The next strongest competition would be number 1107, Ryota Yoshida of Japan. But as they are just clearing the steepest downhill section of the course, now like a more gradual, longer downhill until about the 5 kilometer mark, Romanchuk is pushing it a little bit, but Suzuki is tucked in right behind him. Tokyo Marathon course, we'll see a little bit more of it later, but the course is quite flat. The most substantial elevation difference is within the first 5 kilometers here. Okay, we see coming up and joining the leaders, in fact taking the lead, number 1102, we have Hiroki Nishida of Japan. Third place here in Tokyo 2 years ago. Also up in contention, Sho Watanabe of Japan. Number 1008. All right, going back to our lead group of men. As I was about to say, we have, in addition to the Kipchoge, Chalu, and Kiplagat trio, we have two really interesting additions to the field. Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich and Benson Kipruto. Ngetich was second in Berlin behind Kipchoge last fall in his marathon debut, 2:03:13, very close actually, 31 seconds behind Kipchoge, and was closing, you know, another kilometer or two, and it might have been a very close race. Kipruto also second. He's a past Boston and Chicago winner, and in Chicago last fall he was second behind the world record set by the late great Kelvin Kiptum. Expect those to be 5 of our strongest contenders, but you know, it's a very deep field with a lot of people under the 2:05 mark, including Timothy Kiplagat and potential dark horse in the race, Bethwell Kibet. More on them later. Beautiful view, as you can see. Incredible conditions here in Tokyo. Really get a sense of the scale of the city from that shot. Just a couple more corners to get out of the Nishi Shinjuku area here, and then athletes head out onto the main roads. And very quickly, we'll get into that downhill section of the course. wearing the bib. Oh, we'll get back to that. Here is our Tokyo Marathon course. As I said, the current iteration of the course has several turns in the beginning, followed by 5 kilometers of downhill. After that, once they get to Ichigaya Station, it's a very flat course. Just after 10 kilometers, the first of the turnaround points up by Ueno Park, and then head through Nihonbashi up towards Asakusa and the famous turn in front of Kaminarimo. Across the bridge through the land of Sumo down to 25 kilometers and the second turnaround point, Monzen Nakacho. Back up across the Sumida River, and they will hit 30 kilometers. After passing through Ginza and very close to the finish line, it's a brief out and back to the final turnaround point near Tamachi Station, and the finish between Tokyo Station and the Japanese Imperial Palace. Going back to our lead group, looks like most of our favorites, most of the heavy contenders are in that shot. We saw Kiplagat, Kipchoge, of course, tucked in right behind the Pacers. Our defending champion, Chaludeso, off to the side. Looks like dropping off the pack a bit in orange is Beiran Kariuki, longtime Japanese resident. Just ahead of Kariuki, also off the back of the pack, another Japanese resident Kenyan. Benjamin Gandu. But yeah, most of our favorites are in that lead group. Second group, we haven't really talked about the pacing for the second group. The second group, as you can see back there, is going for that 2:05:50 time that the Japanese men will need to qualify for, or to take the third spot on the Paris Olympics team. They're scheduled to go at 2:57 per kilometer. 2:57 to 2:58 per kilometer, which would put them right down around the Japanese national record of 2:04:56 if they're able to sustain that. And again, our lead group of men here, which even as we're looking at it is dwindling one by one. Our lead group of men scheduled to go very close to 2:01 flat, looking at a projected finish time right down in the low 2:01 range. That would be substantially under Kipchoge's course record and Japanese all-comers record, fastest marathon ever run in Japan of 2:02:40. A shot here of our Japanese field. This is the second pack of men, and again, they are targeting 2:05:50. On the pace is a little bit hotter than that. They're going to be looking at running national record pace, very close to national record pace. 2:04:56 is the national record. But anybody here who runs, just about anybody here, I should say, who runs 2:05:50 will take the third spot on the the Paris Olympic team, away from the third place finisher in last fall's Olympic trials, Suguru Osako, the 3,000 and 5,000 meter national record holder. The national record holder in the marathon, Kengo Suzuki, is in the race here. He's had a rough last couple of years. His only marathon since running a 2:05:28 here in Tokyo 2 years ago was a DNF at the Olympic trials last fall. So this would have to be a pretty substantial comeback for him to pick up the third spot on the Olympic team. His partner Mao Ichiyama is on the women's team. She was the second place finisher at the trials, so he's hoping to join her and go to the Olympics together. But yeah, it's very early, as you can see. This is a very familiar sight in the Japanese marathons, with these massive packs of runners all rolling together in Shinkansen style. Cutting to our lead women's pack here. Also a familiar sight here at the Tokyo Marathon. Massive pack of women here. This is not, I believe this is not necessarily the lead women's pack. Okay, we do see our top Japanese women, Hitomi, Nia, in there. Several of the, she's going for a national record here, the national record 2:18:59, which was set in January at the Osaka Women's Marathon by Honami Maeda. Several of the Ethiopian women in that pack with her, but we will get a shot of the lead women's pack as well. As you can see, a lot of amateur guys at this level, the sub 220 level in Japan, and they are all almost a fall there. They're kind of forming windbreak all the way around Nia here. Okay, some clear separation here. The main contenders in the men's race. People for whom 2:01 pace is a little bit too hot, dropping back, likely to be subsumed into that second pack that you can see back in the distance in the not too distant future here. Men kind of on the last segment of the downhill of the course, just before 5 kilometers or just around 5 kilometers. The course does level out, and it's very flat for the majority of the course. That middle section near between 20 and 25 kilometers where they cross the Sumida River, there is a series of small undulations there, nothing with major elevation difference, but it's just a very steady up and down, and because it's an out and back, they hit that twice, so that does offer a little bit of variation, maybe a little bit more challenge as it's getting towards the later parts of the race, into the second half of the race, but you know, that can help to freshen things up and get them ready for that fast out and back to the final turnaround point at 37.5 kilometers. The distance is Ichitaka Yamashita, who ran 2:05:51 here in Tokyo last year. His time there is the one that everybody else has to beat today. Fortunately, it's not Yamashita's day. Our lead group now, coming up to 10 kilometers. (10 kilometers, 28:30 on the nose. So that second 5 kilometers is actually a little bit faster. We had 14:16 for the first, 14:14 for the second 5 kilometers. 2 hours, 15-second projected finish time, so still world record pace. A little bit of a sloppy water station there by our number 2 seed, Victor Kipkemoi Ngetich of Kenya. But the big four, all still in contention here. Eliud Kipchoge, Ngetich, Timothy Kiplagat, and Benson Kipruto making up that lead quartet at 10 kilometers on world record pace. Projected finish time, again at 10 kilometers, 2 hours and 15 seconds. Second pace group, of course there are some people ahead of them. Second pace group now approaching 10 kilometers. And that's 29:45 at 10 kilometers. For the Japanese group, slightly faster for that 5 kilometers. Projected finish time now, 2 hours, 5 minutes, 32 seconds. So building up a little bit of a margin on that 2 hours, 5 minutes, 50 second. That mark that they will need, anybody here would need to pick up the 3rd spot on the Olympic team. Some confusion there. One of the pacers just stopping dead, trying to find his drink at the table. Not ideal drink table technique, but you know, especially in the early stages of the race when these packs are really big, there's a lot of chaos at these stations. And now our lead women's group, 9.5 kilometers, so also approaching that 10-kilometer mark here. Looks like at least 5 women in this group. Sifan Hassan, a favorite here in the race, just off towards screen left there. Currently running, looks like 5th among the women in the race. Our current leader, number 56, Hitomi Asefa Kebede of Ethiopia, but several others right there with her, including our defending champion, last year's winner, Rosemary Wanjiru of Kenya. First 4 women are staying pretty close together. You can see a little bit of a gap back to, in the midst of that pack, to Hassan in green. But not really any cause for concern at this point. Well, as I say that, you know, Hassan doesn't look great at the moment. She's showing a bit of struggle there on her face. She did say there was a big difference between, in a pre-race interview, she did say that there was a lot of difference between her first and second marathons. First marathon didn't experience any pain. Second marathon experienced a lot of pain. So she looks like she's currently going through a little bit of trouble, but we'll see what the rest of the race holds. 10 kilometers, 32:24. 32:24 for our lead women. Again, a faster second 5 kilometers. Projected finish time currently 2:16:43. So not quite course record, not quite Japanese all-comers record pace yet, but it is edging faster after a relatively conservative first 5 kilometers. Yeah, being our lead group, Kebede, Wanjiru, Shankule, Getachew, Hassan. A slight gap back to Saltpeter of Israel and Saina of the United States, a late addition to the field. Our lead wheelchair, the actual Nihonbashi, the actual bridge, which they will cross here momentarily. Traditionally the 0 point on distance measurements on Japanese maps, and also the 1 kilometer to go point on the Hakone Ekiden course, Japan's legendary university men's road relay, the most watched race in the world. And our lead group of men there crossing the historic Nihonbashi Bridge. Just past that bridge, they will make a left-hand turn and start the trip up towards Asakusa, popular tourist destination. And the second turnaround point there in front of Kaminarimon Gate. Massive lead group here, or sorry, a massive Japanese group, I should say here. A few faces you can pick out of that in the black hat. Oh, sorry, right there in the sunglasses is our half marathon national record holder Yusuke Ogura. Just to his left, Kariuki, just behind Kariuki in the black hat, Yuma Hattori, who was a member of the Japanese marathon team at the Tokyo Olympics. Spent the last month plus training for this in Kenya. Kenya Sonoda, actually a Japanese man whose first name is Kenya, is also in that group. He ran 2:05:59 here in Tokyo last year. And yeah, kind of as expected, the stragglers off that lead group have kind of come together into a group there, but are drifting back towards this second group. This chase group now also crossing Nihonbashi. No change here. Our lead group, the 4 favorites, heavy-duty favorites in the race. Timothy Kiplagat, Eliud Kipchoge, Benson Kipruto, Vincent Kipkemoi, Ngetich. all rolling on world record pace at 10 kilometers. Just going through 14 kilometers now. We'll get the 15 kilometer split and get an idea of where they stand relative to that world record. As I said at the start of the broadcast, despite the very sunny conditions here, it's quite cool. It was 6 degrees at the start, and it's only expected to get up to about 11 degrees Celsius by the finish. So, without a lot of wind, it's excellent conditions. I ran down to the start point in the marathon at about 4:30 this morning, and it was quite cold, and there was a northerly wind at that point, but that wind has died down, as you can see from the flags and vegetation along the side of the course. Not really much wind to speak of right now, but over the course of the race, a southerly wind is expected to pick up. It should be about 4 meters per second, and that would create a bit of a headwind going down to that final turnaround just past 37 kilometers, but a moderate tailwind on the return trip back up to the finish line. There's a little bit of minor undulation at this point in the race, but really the only substantial ups and downs anybody's going to face beyond that initial descent does come in that section between about 20 and 25 kilometers on the opposite side of the Sumida River. Lead man getting closer and closer to that 15-kilometer mark. Two people we haven't mentioned here. We talked a little bit earlier about kind of the connection here between the Tokyo Marathon and the Olympics. Japanese men, if they run under that time 2:05:50, will pick up the third spot on the Olympic team. Several of the people up here and in the front of the women's race, Tokyo will play into how their national federations are selecting their teams. Everybody who's in the lead group for the men or the women would be somebody who'd be in contention for that Olympic team. Two people we haven't mentioned here, the only athletes in the race who are actually really shooting for the Olympic standard are in the women's race. The Canadian half marathon national record holder, Andrea Sakafian, and the Mongolian half marathon national record holder, Hishiksagan Galbadrakh, are running together, both of them trying to clear that 2:26:50 qualifying standard. A little bit more on them later, as our lead man just about to hit 15 kilometers. Pace trio, lead quartet, 15 kilometers, 42:52. .42:52, projecting to 2 hours, 35 seconds at the finish. Dead even right now with the world record, so a little bit slower that last 5 kilometers. Again, that's this is a bit hotter than what they were anticipating. So not too much of a surprise to see that starting to drift back more towards the 2:01 mark, but still dead even with world record pace at this stage in the race. Yep, there you have our 5-kilometer lap times. As you can see, that last 5 kilometers was the slowest in the race so far. Not that 14:22 5-kilometer split is slow, but yeah, the pace is getting a little bit back more towards what was anticipated here. And this big chase pack. Also now approaching 15 kilometers. Japanese men hoping to see a 15-kilometer split under 44:30 to stay on track for that time they need to take the third spot on the Olympic team. Yuma Hattori there off on the left-hand side of the screen in black, in the black hat. People falling off one by one. We have Masaya Taguchi here from the Honda team. His teammate Naoki Koyama, the winner of the Olympic trials. Just behind him, Takumi Oishi, coached by London Olympian Arata Fujiwara. Jun Nobuto from the Mazda corporate team. It's when you look at the depth of Japanese men's marathoning, the size of this pack of guys running at this kind of pace, it's really, part of it is just this do or die attitude. That's the pace you have to run. Everybody goes. Most of them will fall off, but a few people will have success. That's part of the secret of success that we've been seeing. With, you know, last week in Osaka, 4 Japanese men running 2:06, just that kind of strategic. Here we have our standings in the men's race at 15 kilometers. As you can see, lead quartet. That the people who have fallen off that lead group, 6 of them, 6 people who have fallen off that lead group have come together to form a secondary group, but they're just 15 seconds or so ahead of that the large Japanese chase group. So do expect to see that kind of solidify into one larger group, not too far away from now. Kipchoge looking very calm, focused, just looking straight ahead. Was a plan, I should say, but it does look like the great Eliud Kipchoge has slowed. So pretty soon here, this group will hit the third of the turnaround points on the course and then make the return trip back towards central Tokyo. All 3 guys here very strong. We'll come back to that. Going to our lead women's group here. After kind of pushing to get the top spot at 20 kilometers, our defending champ Rosemary Wanjiru has dropped back a little bit at the drink table. A long-time front runner, Hitomi Asefa Kebede of Ethiopia. Back up front, but right on her heels, world champion, Budapest world champion, BEriso Shankule of Ethiopia. It's a very tight shot there of Kebede and Amane running together. Again, just a step or 2 back to Rosemary Wanjiru. Can't see Sifan Hassan in that shot. Oh, there she is. Okay, yes, she's just off the back of that pack, so get the halfway split here momentarily. Okay, our lead trio of women, 1:08:15. 1:08:15 at halfway, projecting to 2:16:30. So they're definitely pushing the pace a little bit here. I would say Hassan is probably running a consistent pace with what they were doing earlier, just looking at the projection of their finish time. But lead women on 2:16:30 pace at halfway. Men just making that turnaround and hitting 25 kilometers. Kipchoge steadily losing ground, the great Eliud losing ground to the front trio. We'll get a measurement of the distance here at the turnaround point, but shortly after that is 25 kilometers, so we'll get official splits at that point, get an idea of how much Eliud has dropped off pace here. So at this turnaround point, just before 24 kilometers, 23.95 kilometers, to be precise. And course record holder, Eliud Kipchoge. "56 seconds back." So, okay, yeah, I would say over the last 5 kilometers or so, Kipchoge's lost almost a minute to the leaders. And in the leaders, again, I think for the 3rd time that we've seen it, Ngetich has lost a few strides. This may be the biggest gap we've seen there.
between him and the other contenders. Benson Kipruto also losing a stride or two there. Timothy Kiplagat maintaining position right behind the remaining pacer. Benson Kipruto doesn't look to be in too much trouble right now, but does look like Vincent Ngetich is starting to lose some ground. Okay, cut back to our women's lead pack. Asefa and Hassan still locked onto the back of that men's pack. And again, I think just looking at the splits that the women ahead of her have run, that last 5 kilometers was a little bit faster for them. So I think she's still running a consistent pace, locked in with all of these amateur Japanese guys. And the other 3 women may be pushing it a little bit harder, but she's still just still in contact in the context of this this overall pack. And as you can see there, even her last 5 kilometers was a little bit faster, 16:10 versus a 16:14 for the previous 5 kilometers. So yeah, doesn't look fantastic, but doesn't look to be in serious trouble either. Okay, Japanese men now making that turnaround, and we can see quite a few people have dropped off now. In fact, it looks like they've caught up to, as kind of expected to happen, they've caught up to that secondary group of 5 people who had dropped off the lead group. Kyohei Hosoya there has dropped off the lead group. He's a 2:06 runner. 25 kilometers for what's now a lead duo of Timothy Kiplagat and Benson Kipruto. Okay, 1:11:39. I'm not sure that's 100% accurate, but we'll try to get an accurate split there. Okay, yep, 1:11:39 was correct at 25 kilometers. Two hours and 56-second projected finish. It's a little bit slower. They have slowed down a little bit, but even so, the pack is coming apart now. Pacers out, so it's down to 2 men racing now, just past 25 kilometers. Timothy Kiplagat, 2:03:50 for second in Rotterdam 2022, followed closely by Benson Kipruto, proven winner with wins in both Boston and Chicago, and a second place in Chicago last year in 2:04:02. So in terms of racing credentials, Kipruto maybe a little more solid, but Kiplagat does have the faster time and a win or 2 in kind of second-tier marathons. So some very dramatic racing ahead, to be sure. Our number 2 seed, Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich of Kenya, still in the picture, but just drifting back, centimeter by centimeter as the kilometers are going by here. Wheelchair men, again, Japanese national record holder Tomoki Suzuki, out front at 40 kilometers. Let's see, 2 kilometers to go. He's at 1:13. Oh, it's been adjusted. 1:18. 1:19 flat here at 40 kilometers. Okay, so not quite on national record pace. It's fallen off national record pace, but the win all but guaranteed here for Japanese national record holder Tomoki Suzuki, second here in Tokyo last year. The last kilometer of the Tokyo course is cobblestones, so it's rough going for the wheelchair race. Here's our lead pack of Japanese men, and Timothy Kiplagat. Timothy Kiplagat, a 1:26:08 at 30 kilometers. And then chasers Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich currently up to second now, 1:26.13, and Benson Kipruto 1:26.14 at 30 kilometers. So the pace is slowed pretty dramatically, currently projecting to a 2:01.10. It's still a minute and a half under course record pace, so smoking fast time for Tokyo. That would certainly take that as a winning time, but not on the world record pace that they had seen earlier. Not a major surprise there. Again, things start getting real kind of at this point in the race. You know, Ngetich has really been the surprise here. He's repeatedly dropped off and then just clawed his way back. And he's, he looked like he might be out of contention for a while there, but he's now overtaken Benson Kipruto for second place and just inching up on the breakaway leader, Timothy Kiplagat here. So, I mean, you could never say definitely in a marathon, but it looks very likely that he'll make contact with Kiplagat here in the not too distant future. And our women's race, just an update on the national record pursuit by Hitomi of Japan at 25 kilometers. She was 1:22.30, so projecting to 2:19.15. 2:19.15. So that's PB pace for her by 9 seconds, but she's fallen well off the national record, 2:18.59. Not looking super comfortable. Only at 26.8 kilometers, so it would take something really special over the second part of the course for her to have a shot at getting that 2:18.59 national record. Again, she kind of bypassed the Paris Olympics, gave a pass on that as a goal for this year in favor of trying to get the national record here, but not looking great right now. Those chances of getting the national record not looking spectacular. We'll see what the split is like at 30 kilometers for her. Now, kind of interestingly, she actually was the winner in the 2007 Tokyo Marathon, the very first Tokyo Marathon at age 18. Okay, our Japanese pack just went through 30 kilometers. Up front, though, Kiplagat still in the lead. But Benson Kipruto has come back again. So yeah, just a lot of back and forth in this race. And yeah, they're just about to run down Kiplagat now. So we'll see if Kiplagat can tag on with them, make it a three-way race again. But you know, given how fast they went out, how much faster this is than any of them has ever run before, you know, the risk factor there is extremely high. The ups and downs that they're going to be experiencing, especially from here on to the finish, you know, the waves are going to come very quickly. So any of these three guys could really take this race at this point. And here they come, Kipruto and Ngetich back in orbit with breakaway leader Timothy Kiplagat. So the number 2, 3, and 4 ranked men in the field, who are also the number 3, 4, and 5 ranked Kenyans on World Athletics Road to Paris rankings, all sitting in the top 3 right now in the Tokyo Marathon together at 31.5 kilometers. Cutting back to the women's race now, and looks like Hassan has lost touch with that big pack of men, fronted by the lead 3 women in the race. So, you know, we did see something similar in London in her debut. Not necessarily the end of the world. It's only 28 kilometers. But, yep, Hassan has lost touch with the lead trio. World champ Alame BEriso, Shankule, defending Tokyo winner Rosemary Wanjiru. and Situme Asefa Kebede of Ethiopia. Well, those splits are recording the fastest. They're claiming the fastest 5K in the race for Hassan from 20 to 25 kilometers. They're 15:56, and you know she is passing some of these high-level amateur Japanese men. So yeah, at the next at the 30-kilometer, you know, it's possible that the 3 women ahead of her are going a lot faster for this 5 kilometers. But given that she has dropped back a little bit from that pack, she's likely slowed off of that 15:56 last 5 kilometers. All 3 of the heavy-duty contender women, apart from Hassan, at the front of that pack of men there. Again, world champ Amane BEriso Shankule, defending Tokyo champion Rosemary Wanjiru, and Houston half marathon winner Situme Asefa Kebede of Ethiopia. She ran a 1:04:37 PB to win Houston in January, so you know she's in excellent shape here. And she's been running like it, front running all the way. Okay, back in the men's race. Kipruto now has caught up. Well, they had both Kipruto and Ngetich had caught up with breakaway leader Kiplagat. Now both of them pulling away again from Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich. That's probably the 5th or 6th time we've seen Ngetich drop back. But going to our women's wheelchair race, defending champion and course record holder Manuela Schar breaking away in the final kilometer now on those cobblestones. Definitely looks set to defend her title here. Repeat in Tokyo. Her course record last year was 1:36:43. Not close to that today. But again, a win in the Abbott World Marathon Majors is a win in the Abbott World Marathon Majors. We'll cut to it later as we're watching Schar come down the last kilometer, but just I'm seeing on another monitor that some of that second pack is with Ethiopians who had dropped off the lead group to join the Japanese men. Some of that group is about to run down Eliud Kipchoge. So we'll get to that after we see our defending women's wheelchair champion, Manuela Schar of Switzerland, take it again. She was, you know, she has a lot of good luck here in Tokyo. She was a silver medalist in the Tokyo Paralympics. Course record here in Tokyo last year, and now she's going for the win here. Okay, now a cut here to the second pack in the Japanese race. We have that chase pack has splintered now. Multiple runners now gunning for the back of the great Eliud Kipchoge here, just coming up to 32 kilometers. And a shot there. Here we go. Rounding the last corner in the home straight for another Tokyo Marathon title, Manuela Schar of Switzerland. (1:40.10) officially for the win. 1:40.10. Manuela Schar of Switzerland takes the Tokyo Marathon 2024 women's wheelchair race. Congratulations. Close behind, in second, Eden Rainbow Cooper of Great Britain. Looks to be in a world of hurt and has kind of dropped towards the back of this pack of men that she was tucked in with earlier. So it doesn't look like there's going to be, we'll get a definitive idea at 35 kilometers here, but does not look to be a Japanese women's national record in the works today. And our lead trio of women, currently led by world champion Amane BEriso Shankule, just about to hit 35 kilometers. Lead women passing Masaya Taguchi, who we saw earlier, 209 marathoner, just before they hit 35 kilometers. And there it is, 1:52.42. 1:52.42 for our lead trio of women at 35 kilometers, projecting to 2:15.53. Yep, so every 5 kilometers, the projected finish time is just getting like a few seconds faster. We're really looking, with only 7 kilometers to go, chances looking very good here that we're going to see the fastest women's marathon ever run in Japan. 2:16.02 by Bridget Kosuke here in Tokyo 2 years ago is the current mark, both the course record and the Japanese all-comers record. All 3 women here currently on track to break that. So anything can happen in the last 5 kilometers of a marathon, but and actually, as I'm seeing on another monitor, you're going to see in the men's race, anything can happen in the marathon in the last 5 kilometers, but we got the possibility here of seeing the fastest ever men's and women's marathons run in Japan in the same race. And now we're going to come back and show you the development here in the men's race. Benson Kipruto, the 2021 Boston Marathon champion, 2022 Chicago Marathon champion, has pulled away now from Timothy Kiplagat. Less than 3 kilometers to go for Kipruto to claim his third, or his win in a third Abbott World Marathon Majors member race. Yeah, it doesn't look like Kiplagat has anything to answer for this, so the win looking extremely likely for Benson Kipruto. Now mostly a question of time here. He's about to hit 40 kilometers. At 35 kilometers, his projected finish was almost a minute under course record. He was projecting to 2:01.47 course record by Eliud Kipchoge 2 years ago, 2:02.40. It's the course record and the Japanese all-comers record. It's a pretty big margin. Definitely doesn't look like he's slowed enough to lose that. So we'll know momentarily here if Benson Kipruto is still on track for that course record here at Tokyo Marathon 2024. The 5K split times there, had slowed pretty dramatically, but Kipruto does look to be pushing pretty hard now as he approaches the 40 kilometer mark. And here we go, our leader, Benson Kipruto of Kenya, 40 kilometers. Just waiting for the system to bring up an official split. It was about 1:55.50 unofficially there. (1:55.48 officially. Sorry for that delay there. 1:55.48 officially at 40K for Benson Kipruto of Kenya, projecting to a 2:02.09 finish time. So with 2 kilometers to go, just over 2 kilometers to go, he has a 31-second margin on the course record and the Japanese all-comers record. Yeah, you feel like that kind of distance, 31 seconds is a pretty good margin, but again, you really never know. You never know. He looks like he's keeping it together. Should be experiencing a little bit of a tailwind here. Just got to hold it together over this last section here. Less than 2 kilometers to go now for our leader, Benson Kipruto. Timothy Kiplagat, 19 seconds back at 40 kilometers. Cutting back to the drama regarding the top Japanese finisher. Currently, Yusuke Nishiyama, just about to hit 40 kilometers. He's in the top Japanese position. He had a 6-second margin at 35 kilometers on that 2:05.50 that he needs to qualify for the Japanese Olympic team. But just behind him, well, Not too close, but in the distance behind him there, Kenya Sonoda, the second place Japanese runner. Kyohei Hosea also visible behind them. Just earlier we had 6 Japanese men very close together there, you know, on the high 205, low 206 pace. Currently only seeing 3. You know, again, like anything can happen in the last part of a marathon, but I think we're on track for a really great, some really great domestic results here. Nishiyama just about to hit 40K. Okay, here we are, cutting back. Bidon Kariuki has dropped back. Kipchoge, just behind Kipchoge, Kenya Sonoda, the second place Japanese man. We'll know exactly what the splits are at 40K, but they should be very close to 206 flat pace here. Sonoda, again, one of the 2 Japanese men. He struggled quite a bit since then. Didn't run well in the heat at the Budapest World Championships, and then tried to double at the October Olympic Marathon Trials and was a DNF there. Kipchoge, of course, found the Boston Marathon course more challenging than expected. Last spring was 6th there, 209.23, and then kind of regrouped with a win in Berlin in 202.42. Yeah, Kipchoge, you know, again, as you said it a million times here, but anything can happen in the marathon. Kipchoge now starting to overtake some of the people who had run him down earlier. I believe that's world champ Victor Kiplagat of Uganda there, who both Kipchoge and Sonoda have just passed. He's part of that crew that that rolled by together earlier on, but that group has split up, shattered really, and being run down now. Okay, so our leader, Benson Kipruto, is now into the final kilometer on those cobblestones. The last straightaway, one last corner. The finish line awaits. He's just over 2 hours at 41.5. The win's all but guaranteed here. It's just a question of, is he going to get that course record, that Japanese all-comers record, the fastest marathon ever run by a man in Japan. He had a 31-second margin at 40K. You figure he's got it, but we shall see. Again, as we saw earlier, just massive crowds here in the last kilometer of the Tokyo Marathon. Benson Kipruto, our leader at the Tokyo Marathon, about to hit 42 kilometers. .42 kilometers, the last corner in sight for Benson Kipruto. There we go, 42 kilometers, 2:01.45 at 42K. Looks like it's a done deal. Again, the course record here, 2:02.40 by Eliud Kipchoge 2 years ago. Also the fastest marathon ever run by a man in Japan until today. Benson Kipruto of Kenya wins the Tokyo Marathon 2024. 2:02.15 unofficially. You've just seen a new course record, the fastest marathon ever run by a man on Japanese soil. Congratulations. Benson Kipruto of Kenya takes his 3rd Abbott World Marathon Majors win, following his titles in Boston and Chicago. Timothy Kiplagat, the big PB there, 2:02.55 unofficially for 2nd place for Timothy Kiplagat. He really worked that. Perfectly happy with that, as he should be. That's a big PB for him. Official times, yes. Benson Kipruto, 2:02.16 course record. Timothy Kiplagat, 2:02.55 PB for 2nd. Just brilliant runs from both of them. Kiplagat, no shame in his game at all with that performance. You can see it. You could see it on his face when he finished. Cutting back here now to our chase group here. Yusuke Nishiyama sitting in the, what's it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7th or 8th position here. Top Japanese man. Running side by side with Kebede of Kenya. Simon Kariuki just ahead. He's got about 800 meters to go, 2 minutes. Pretty rough. We'll see. He's pushing really hard, trying to run down just ahead the duo who've been working together for so long, Alame Kiros and Getachew of Ethiopia. Okay, 3rd place. Also looking pretty happy with that. Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich finishes his 2nd marathon. 2:04.18 for 3rd. Really had to work for that one. A lot of ups and downs there for him, but held it together for 3rd place finish there. Okay, now it's going to be a really tight finish here between this group here. Next up, we've got Getachew. I believe just behind Getachew it is Alame of Israel. Just behind him, Simon Kariuki, Japan resident Kenyan. Kebede of Kenya, and top Japanese man, Yusuke Nishiyama. 2:05.50 is the time that Nishiyama needs. Looks like he's gonna just miss it. Low 2:06, it'll be a big PB for him, but it does not look as though he will take that 3rd spot on the Paris Olympic team, leaving it to Olympic trials 3rd place finisher, 3,000 meter, 5,000 meter national record holder, Suguru Osaka. But still, brilliant performance here from him. Okay, in 4th place, Alame Kiros of Ethiopia. (2:05.45) unofficially. We'll get the official time momentarily here. Oh, you can see just a little bit further back, Kyohei Hosoya of Japan has overtaken Kenya Sonoda for the 2nd Japanese spot. And he was the top Japanese finisher at Fukuoka in December. And a big pack here, big pack finish here for 5th place. Getachew gets 5th place. Getachew 5th. Kibet 6th. Alame 7th. Kariuki 8th. Nishiyama 9th. All of them under 2:06.30. And it looks like the great Nishiyama just got it there. Big PB, but misses the Paris Olympics team. Eliud Kipchoge coming through 10th. Oh, I'm sorry, we're off by 1 place there. Eliud Kipchoge, 11th place. Just behind him, Kenya Sonoda, Kyohei Hosoya, all of them just under 2:07. Yeah, we may have an error in the results there. Kipchoge may have been 10th. BEriso, Shankule, and defending champ Rosemary Wanjiru. But Kebede has just been rock solid, working hard, strong all the way. And she's about to reap the benefit of that. right turn. Very quickly, a left turn into that cobblestone-lined last kilometer. One final corner will take her to the Tokyo Marathon title. Yeah, Rosemary Wanjiru just drifting away into the distance there. Kebede about to make that left turn into the last kilometer. 1 kilometer to go, as you can see there, that sign there. So, yeah, almost no chance that we'll see Wanjiru make this up. So yeah, again, almost every 5 kilometer split over the second half of the race. The projected finish time has gotten faster and faster. At 40 kilometers, it was projecting to 2:15:49, which is only 13 seconds under the course record and all-comers record here. Certainly looks like she's running fast enough to keep that, get under the 2:16 mark here. Comparison there of Tsutome's splits and the world record. We're never really talking about the world record here for the women in Tokyo, but it gives you an idea of just the sheer quality of that record. Rosemary Wanjiru, fluent Japanese speaker, our winner here in Tokyo last year. Looking great. May still actually edge out a PB here. Her winning time in Tokyo, 2:16:28, so she'll be very close to that. But unfortunately, not going to be a second successive win for Rosemary Wanjiru. 500 to go. Feeling like this is going to be very close. (2:15:02), so 1 minute to go for the course record and the all-comers record. Tsutomi Asefa Kebede digging deep. That 42-kilometer mark in the last corner are in sight, but is she going to hang on to get the course record, the Japanese all-comers record? Significant cash bonus if she pulls that off. Last corner. .30 seconds to go. Looking like she's got it. Into the home straight. And congratulations, Ethiopia's Tsutomi Asefa Kebede wins Tokyo Marathon 2024 in a course record, Japanese all-comers record, 2:15:55 unofficially. Officially, 2:15:55, yes. The first woman to go under 2:16 on Japanese soil. Rosemary Wanjiru, our winner last year. A PB, yeah, all smiles. A PB, 2:16:14 for second place. That's a PB is a PB. 14 seconds improvement on her winning time from last year. Not what she wanted, but can't complain on that, on a PB, that kind of time. Excellent performance. Our winner, brilliant performance, Tsutomi Asefa Kebede of Ethiopia. 2:15:55 course record, Japanese all-comers record. So you've just seen the fastest ever men's and women's marathons run in Japan here today in Tokyo. Coming in third now, world champion BEriso Shankule of Ethiopia. Also just getting under 2:17. She really faded off there, but still 2:16, great performance. 2:16:58 officially for third place. again, recapping our top 10 men's results. Benson Kipruto of Kenya, 2:02.16 for the win in a course record and Japanese all-comers record. Timothy Kiplagat second, 2:02.55. Vincent Kipkemoi Ngetich, 2:04.18 for third. Yusuke Nishiyama takes ninth, 2:06.31. The great Eliud Kipchoge 10th in 2:06.49. Top 10 all clearing 2:07. Deeper results there. Another 2 Japanese men under 2:07. Kenya Sonoda, Kyohei Hosoya. World champ Victor Kiplagat of Uganda. Only 15th, 2:07.44.